Hi guys, so welcome back to our next step in our array calc process. So last video we covered sources, we added in some top boxes, the T10s to be precise, and in this video we're going to run through adding in some subwoofers. So that's our venue from the top, if you can remember, with our horizontal aiming right towards the back at listener's height. But this time we're going to add in some subwoofers. So if you head up to, back to the sources tab, head up to this little plus here, and then add a subarray. So the first ones I'm going to start with are the B4 subs. So I've chosen to go with these subs first because they are a cardioid subwoofer. They are a front-mounted 15-inch driver and a rear-mounted 12-inch driver. I've picked this because we want to try and eradicate as much noise on stage as possible as a general rule of thumb for most sound engineers. So the B4 being a cardioid sub helps a lot with that, but obviously we don't know whether it's going to work until we try it. So I'm just going to run you through a little thing. So we've got the free and far field polar pattern here. And you can basically see how each of these low end frequencies is going to respond in your configuration. And each color will be representative on here. So let's add in some subs, shall we? So let's start with 4v4 subwoofers, shall we? And here we are, you can see the blue, green, yellow and red polar patterns of those frequencies relative to these frequencies here, which can be changed if you want to see how they're acting further up the frequency range. So 4v4 subs has given us a polar pattern of this. Now this isn't very accurate because all the subs are in 1 at the moment, which obviously we don't want. So if you went back to our venue, subwoofers are there right now. We want them to be within the crowd barrier and the stage, so they'll be out of sight, out of the line of sight, and in a safe position. So the crowd barrier started at 4 meters and the stage ended at 3 meters. So we want roughly in the middle of those. So let's say X to be 3.8 meters. We've got 4 subs, so let's space them along 5 meter. And if you apply the layout, that should put your subwoofers where you want them. Now I think 5 meters might be a bit too much, so let's change that to 4 meters and apply the layout. So there we have it, we've got our 4 subs there, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And if you want to make any fine adjustments to their positions, change it within here and not here. Anything you change in here, if you apply it, you may lose some of the things you changed in here. So this is for like fine adjustments, and this is for overall adjustments of all the speakers at the same time. So remember our housekeeping, B4 subs, just so we know which source is which. And we're going to, let's have a little look at some frequencies, shall we? So we'll try 50 Hertz. So if you head to this one here, these little buttons will mute speakers, so we don't want to see what our tops are doing when we're looking at the sub frequencies. We just want to be seeing how our sub is acting in this room. So if you head down to calculate, so this is how our subs are looking within this venue. So we've got a bit of a hot spot in the middle and the sound is diminishing around that. So as you can see, there's a bit of a parallel down here. That's what we're seeing in our venue. So if we wanted to widen the dispersion of the subs, we can add a bit of delay to the outside subs, which should widen the pattern, the polar pattern. As you can see, it's widened with 63 Hz here. Maybe a little more. Let's try 4. So there, that's widened it a bit more. So this is basically beam steering. There, that's a lot better. It's a lot better. Head back to our 3D plot. Recalculate. To readjust. And that has given us a much more even coverage of the subs in the venue. And as you can see, we have got not a lot of sound going back on stage, which is perfect. That is what we are trying to do. So yeah, adding a bit of delay to the outside subs should widen the dispersion or the polar pattern of the subwoofers. If you have more subs, you'll need to delay more from the outside, getting less and less in to do this. But because we only have 4, we just need to delay the 2 outside ones, and always the middle ones will always be no delay at all. So yeah, that is our subwoofers. I mean, we can try, let's add in just for the means of this. Let's add in another sub, if we can. We can't. Interesting. Let's see how that acting is different. So let's go up to 80 Hz. Recalculate. Wow. So right here you can see I've widened them by a lot, by a bit too much. So head back to delay. Recalculate. There we are. So I've gotten rid of that horrible little dip. It is just about fine tuning and making sure you make enough adjustments. It's just very trial and error. And if you wanted to, you could put on a 100 Hz cut on the subwoofers. So we've got a cut on our tops as well. Which basically means this will be a low pass filter, letting anything under 100 Hz through on the subs. Got a bit of a hot spot in the middle, because might be because our tops are a bit low to the floor. So what we can do, we can try to raise these up a little bit. So let's try 3.5 meters. Recalculate. See if that's gone. Back to our alignment, make sure we're hitting 1.7, which we're not, so let's change the vertical dispersion on this to -8. Almost there, -10. And there we are. That looks a bit better. Let's go back to the 3D plot shell and see how that's. I guess to see overall, let's hit the board bank noise, adjust our levels. And there we are, we're getting a fairly even coverage. A little bit of noise back on stage, but we're never going to fully eradicate that with the room being so small. But right at the back of the stage we're around like 90 dB, which is pretty good. And yeah, that's how you add some subwoofers in to your array calc. see you in the next video where we'll be aligning everything.